Oh, the sun's coming up.
Oh, this is great.
Oh, Aaron. Oh, that's okay.
Smile, honey. Put your hands down. Smile. Give me a nice smile. Just look at Mama.
Stand up by Papa.
While you're getting up, Jim Marsh has a couple of announcements he'd like to make right now, so let's let him do that.
I have, this is strictly out of the here that he put his John Hancock on as well, and that's Sean Kim. Two great players. And I thought that I might give you a couple of questions you can pour over in your mind, and then when I come up and just chat very, very briefly, if you've thought of it, you can take Magic home or Sean home or something like that. Here's the first question that you need to think about. And it has to do with basketball. I'm a little surprised, huh? The very first player, this is for Magic Johnson hat, very first player to be named Rookie of the Year in the NBA, and he came out of college early. In other words, he wasn't a senior graduate. He came out of college early. I will give you a hint. But keep it up here now. Don't, because I'll give you a hint. His first name begins... Oh, no. Okay. Oh, really? Okay, then you don't need it. But let me give you a hint and just keep it in here. Keep it inside. His first name, it's not Larry Bird. His first name begins with the same letter as his last name. You still have it. His first name begins with the first letter of his last name. Okay? First name begins with blank. His last name begins with blank and then same. The other question is this, and don't let me stop you from going to dinner. I'm just throwing this in so have you something to think about and maybe have some table conversation. The second question is this. The very first all-star player, the very first player from the Sonics organization, he was a Sonics member, team member at that time, to play in the All-Star game. Play in the All-Star game. Think about it. You want Magic or Sean?
Great. Dave Young.
Hey Dan, how you doing? What's up, Danny boy? You sit up?
Yeah.
Go back
this way. Yeah, I did wait for my dad.
He looked like he needed.
We'll show you where you sit. Hi, sir, again.
Just getting it ready.
I'm glad you had the camera that day on top of the coach because when I looked at
Drumming, Dan? Where's Dan? You should have been in there, Dan.
What wedding? I got it on picture.
I know you were excited.
That's great, Mac.
If you don't get any cake, don't leave that big tip you were planning on.
Thank you.
Did that have sound in it? Did you hear that nasty thing I just heard said to that lady?
Picks up everything. Even though
Take the cake with us now? Or?
No, they'll bring it to you.
Okay.
Unless you're worried. What's your face level, Jerry? How?
you follow it? You follow it?
Once in a while, there's a big game show coming on.
Yeah, you went for a great. How do you?
Then I eject somebody. I ejected. He started coming and I ejected about 8 people. About 8 times in a row. He said, I'm not coming again. You throw it the first time. Every time I come, you throw somebody out. They'd be happy.
What up, man? Move up. Where's the other guy go?
Old, big leg. 33 years.
I'm not too impressed with him. He's the toughest man to work with. He's the toughest man to work with.
A little bit of that. He'll be here. Did you make that?
Put it on the map where it rightfully belongs. See a lot of great people that, yeah, go ahead. quite visible when it comes to reaching into their pocket to make it a little easier for some of the parent groups. And this, by the way, is the Mount Vernon Basketball Club. That is a group of interesting people who got together to make sure this thing is going to go off right. I see people like Fred Lee out here. Fred, I went to his barber shop the other day, and he didn't offer to cut my hair. But he'll cut yours if you want to go in. And a lot of these superstars right here in their earlier years, if you would want to see what they look like, but he was coaching on the AAU level, and even before that, they are right there. So he was building the foundation of the celebration that we have here tonight. Fred Lee, most certainly a hooper and a shaker in downtown Mount Vernon and for youth in sports throughout the entire valley. And he's also involved in baseball too. Fred's out there. The marks of a good recruiter is to come back after your kids have graduated, such is the case for Dick Duffy, who is very, very involved in local community activities. And he always comes out and does a great job of just being a smiling gentleman who's always willing to help. And he's here again here tonight, and we congratulate him on just being Dick Duffy. It's a rarity, you know. Just like Chrysler sitting next to Ford, you have two guys at the table over here that are not mortal enemies, but I wonder if each swap credit cards now and again. The Cascade Mall in Burlington has J.C. Penney's and Larry Orth, who is a transplant from Kansas, who, let's see, are they going to be in the Final Four this year again? Doggone it. Larry works for James Cash Penney, and the man off to his left works for Dallas Stroud of the Emporium. That's Gary Clocky right there. Two strong boosters for the Mount Vernon area. We also see another gentleman who always looks dapper. And a couple of years ago, when I had a chance to do a fantasy football game on another radio station, this gentleman caught the winning touchdown in the end zone. And he's been looking dapper ever since, and I know that he was cutting his grass that particular day on a game that he never played in, but we made it sound so real. A lady stopped to congratulate him on that great touchdown pass he caught. Ron Leitner, where are you? Last year, I think one of the nicest things about being able to broadcast sports is when you see the parents react in a positive manner toward their kids. And we were in let's see, Enumclaw. A nice sunny day. Mount Vernon Bulldogs for a game away from the state championship round, and here comes a home run over the left field wall, and pretty soon I see a roly-poly guy with glasses running around the back of the dugout. He has his ball, and it was well deserved because Tom Forrest hit it over the park, and only Harlan Forrest could get it. Hiya, Harlan. You got any more? Are you all through? You got two more on the way. All right. Where's the boss at? Jean Swanland. Are you here tonight? There she is. That lady knows every athletic record of every person on every schedule. I always do what it's called her, and she knows it, and she's usually right. Frederick Crime, who has scheduled Valley Sports this week, and his effort is to talk to many of the coaches who don't get the coverage that they rightfully deserve. And we try to do it on location, and the accent is local, and most certainly Scott's doing a great job of that. See Rob Lee right there at the same table. Rob, of course, you'll see him also at Fred's. You also see him at Skagit Speedway quite a bit promoting the local sporting scene. We also have people like Denny Lynn, who's here with the Parks Department. Denny is a staunch supporter of anything athletic and anything that's motivating. Carlos Garcia, I see him back there with his family. And, of course, always a staunch supporter of baseball. Carlos really loves to talk baseball, but he loves to coach it too. Earl Susley is here. Hal Ellis, Tom Polino. These are the movers and shakers we talked about. I know Tom is with mixed emotions right now as he is going to wrap it up here at the end of a long and illustrious career. We also have people that we want to say hello to, including John Wyson, who I think is one of the finest gentlemen I've ever met as far as athletic directors are concerned, and as far as human beings. He's always the same straight person, and he's nice to me as long as I wear green. So I wore the green tonight. Tony Flynn, because Tony does a lot of great things, working for the Skagit Argus, and he's everywhere. You can see him at 2 or 3 basketball games at any one particular night. if you ever try to catch up with this guy, you'll know how hard he works. And he also knows what it is to be sometimes a person who receives letters. Why did you say this about my kid or whatever? Special welcome once again to a gentleman who kind of set the tone last year for what is happening this year. Tim Caviezel is here with us, and he has joined. Where'd you go, Tim? Stand up and say hi. Remember him? Plays for the University of Washington Huskies, and he tried to tell the coach, now coach, the way we did it in Mount Vernon, let's do it this way, right? He has to convince the coach that Lynn Nance should talk with Matt Fraser on a regular basis. Maybe we're working on that, I don't know. Now there are a lot of more of you out there, moms, dads, uncles, cousins, sisters, brothers, who do the right thing of filling the gymnasium or going out in the elements and taking care of rooting for the home team. And I think that's important. Because if you don't have the backing in the home, you don't have the backing, period. End of sermon. We have a very honored guest here tonight, and we're honored that he is going to be here to speak with you, and he's giving you some trivia questions to mull over just a bit. I'll be brief about Jim Marsh. Most of you have seen him on television. Most of you have cursed him when he played for the Portland Trailblazers, graduate of USC. Killer commentator on television, family relations now with the Sonics, and thanks to people like him and very accurately, we won't have a leaky roof for Spencer Haywood to revisit every 10 years in just a bit. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, our guest for tonight, and he's a big guy too, I like this, Jim Marsh.
Having participated in sports my entire life, I can tell you, unfortunately, not from firsthand, but from being there as the other team celebrates, looking back at high school where we did much the same as this squad here, where last year you were in the finals and lost. This year you were in the finals and won. My 2 seasons at Pasadena High School, we were in the finals of the Southern California State CIF Championships, and we lost both. In fact, both times to Rick Allen. Rick Allen was the coach of the state's highest attended high school team. Little trivia there for you. So I don't know how it is to walk off the court winning your last one in high school. I don't know because my 4 years at SC were contiguous to the 4 years of Blue Alcindor at UCLA. So I had some difficult moments playing the Bruins on occasion. I mean, we dipped them one time. We dipped them one time in college, we had 46-44. And as a professional athlete, as Dan mentioned, I played for the Trailblazers in their second year. And we won 18 games, which is a nice, you know. Timmy, how many did you win this year? At Washington. Okay, I know you were 12-0 against Sisters of the Poor early, but... I'm kidding. I know Tim well. He's a step for my basketball camp at Summer Heat Union. I know the good doctor, and so I'm just being facetious. However, we won 18 games in Portland. Nice. But remember now, in the pros you play 82 games. Now the next year we bulked up over 20. We were 21 and whatever remains, maybe 2. Mathematicians, you didn't bring up the larger number. We had 12. We had 3 12-game losing streaks. Tried 3 12-game losing streaks in 71, my rookie year. And in addition, the last little note is trivia, we were 0 for January. We were 0 for 12. So, Tim, 0 and 12. So unfortunately, as a player, I didn't taste taste the sweet, sparkling grape juice that these guys had an opportunity to taste this year. Then on into coaching and that, and came very close a number of times at the University of Utah, but I just appreciate the opportunity to come out and spending just a few moments. My part is very, very brief. Coach Fraser and I were talking earlier, and he said, you know, you bat down hats at the gym and get that coffee because we're going a while. And I'll tell you, these fellas, and Coach Fraser and his staff deserve all the time that they take tonight because, as you know, even though they'll be the front runners next year, even though Garfield's dropped into Double-A, you've got some outstanding players here coming back, and they're going to be the team of choice to beat, and they may win it all next year. We'll be right back up here again, celebrating number 2, and then looking for a three-peat. However, the other side of the coin is you may not, and you know, and so tonight is a special night, and so we'll get very quickly to Coach Fraser. I mentioned moments ago during the beginning of our dinner that I had some special items up here that my good man Urban had signed for us. I got some Sean Kim posters, and I'd like to bring my partner up here, Mr. Caviezel, up here to just hand them to the people that win these. Jimmy, come on up real quick and stand out here and just hand it us. The very first question, first of all, you had a chance to see these fellas this year, right? Quickly, your impressions of the squad and why they won. And what's the difference between last year and this year? Now, we go head-to-head a lot. And believe me, one day, perhaps, he has potential that I might be calling his game in the NBA. He has that kind of potential. But as he knows, or he found out from Coach Fraser, he's quickly finding out from Coach Nance that a lot of difference between potential and what actually is. So just give me some quick impressions of the team this year that you saw, and maybe a charge for next year. Well, grab the mic.
I definitely think they're a lot really experienced. Being in 1 year really helped a lot. Different from last year, these guys play really well together. I mean, something last year, I mean, a lot of times I get involved and kind of do my own thing, and these guys play so well together, and that's, you know, as a team, they're so close and stuff, and Coach Fraser's that way too, and everybody's just, it's just what I see a lot. You don't see that many teams, guys that get along so well, and that's the key, because if your team gets along real well, if you're going to go as far as you want, and that's what these guys did, and deserve it, and they did. Good luck next year.
Sidebar issue here. What are you doing here this off season to make yourself a better player, and what can we maybe expect from you in the Huskies next year?
What?
What are you doing? What do you want to do by next year?
Well, I'm just going to work hard on my game to get stronger physically, and it's a big step from going to high school and college. Physically wise, you got to go against, you know, instead of getting ready to play something like Cedar Roll, I got to get ready to play Arizona. And so it's just...
you have the answer. Oh, I'm in trouble. Yeah. I'm in big trouble. I know, but we have a cutie pie right here, too. Mayor. Can you teach me? Can you give me some of those soft shoes that I'm sure you have on very delicate issues? Okay, you give me your answer. What's your answer? Okay, what's your answer? I like them both. So you come up here and you pick Magic Johnson's hat right here. Moses Malone isn't necessarily correct, but I can't turn you down. Come up here. And we'll give her John Kim Posner with a little nice golden signature. And thank you very much. Moses Malone. It was Alvin Adams. Alvin Adams. I've got 2 more little items to give away very quickly. 3 more. And the other question was who was the first, but I don't think that I worded it very good. Okay, yes, what's the answer? Yeah, yeah, you're right. Come on up. It's Spencer Haywood. Spencer Haywood, come on up. You want magic or you want shot? Oh, man. Oh, boy. All right, okay. Now I have 2 remaining. And here's the question I'd like for the Magic Johnson hat. There's a fella on your squad. His nickname. Now raise your hand. Don't blurt out the answer. His nickname is Bubba. What's his real name? Hold it. Young lady right there. You were very quick too. Trinky, is he related to you? Okay. Come on up. You get Magic Johnson. That's Bubba. Bubba with the red face. Okay, here's another question. Last one for Sean Kim. We all know that Coach Fraser went across the mountains by covered wagon and horses to Washington State. Okay? We all know that. That's right. All right. Now, what we may not know is where he matriculated as a prepster. So raise your hand. Don't blurt it out. Where did Coach Fraser go to high school? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ballard. That's right. Come on. Your brother? Is he really? Okay. Okay. You got it. Thank you. That's it. Tim Caviezel, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. My last question involves 4 tickets. Count them 4, F-O-U-R, 4 free tickets. Download to the Phoenix Suns game April 19th. 4 tickets. Here's my question. Who? Yes, sir. What's the answer? Magic Johnson. That's very good. I should be. All right, I'll tell you what. I'll give you 2 tickets to the Spurs game just because. I will get the appropriate information at the conclusion, and I'll leave my will call for you. That's Friday night, the 12th of April, San Antonio Spurs, you and Admiral Robbins. Okay, but here's my question. In the 3 district playoff games that you folks played, winning, if I read it right, 2 out of the 3. Correct? Okay, 2 out of 3. The last 10 seconds of each game. Hold it. Okay. I saw some hands over here. But the guy that raised his hands the quickest, actually it was a young lady. It was right here. What's your answer? No. Okay, young lady in the back. What's the answer? No. Was that what she said? Yeah. I apologize. I didn't hear. I'm an SC graduate. I apologize. Okay, come up here. Or no. I'll get information. You have 4 tickets to Phoenix Suns game yet. Who hit a 3-pointer in each of those last 3 districts? And you got it right. Johnny Kills. That's right. Congratulations. I got 4 tickets. Donnie. I tried to. Oh, there you are. Where's your green shirt, brother? He's a freshman? That still doesn't answer what a green shirt is, but at any rate, congratulations on that. And good luck. I'm told you're going to have a good career, an outstanding career here. I just have two things to say, and then we're out of here, and then we'll move along and do the honoring that's rightly we should do tonight. And that is and it's kind of a challenge to these fellows right here and the coaches. I have watched in my 10 years at the Sonics an interesting metamorphosis with the championship team. That's the Sonics of '78 that won the championship. And when I came here in '81, many of those players were still here. We were starting JJ, Lonnie, Jack, Gus. DJ was gone at that point, but Freddie was coming off the bench. So there were 5 or 6 players that still were there. Lenny Wilkins was the coach. And through those 2 or 3 years together in the early '80s, much was made on occasion of, hey Jack, this team is, or Gus, what do you think this team is? How do you compare this team to your championship team, et cetera, et cetera. There wasn't all that much thought given to the fact that those guys won an NBA championship. During the last 5 years or so, as I have been around the fellas on a reunion or two on some very rare occasions when they all get together. One time was just a couple of nights ago at Mercer Island High School where they were part of a benefit, and actually 4 of the players were there that were part of that championship team. I have noticed that they're getting closer together, and it's an unbelievable special situation and happening that happened 10, 11, 12 years ago for that particular team. And these fellas here and the coaches that went through all the turmoil and the practice and the hollering and the rant and raving of this, that, and the other thing that's always attendant to a basketball team and a coach that likes to do things his way, and rightly so. You know, you won a championship, you get your awards tonight, but when it sets in, it's your 10-year reunion or your 20-year reunion, because the guys in the green and their coaches will always have a bond that, trust me, gets better and better and fuller and more rich as time goes on. It just happens that way. As you look back, things become, your shots become bigger. We laughed within 10 seconds. You know, they were, all of a sudden, it's 7 straight games in the last 2 seconds. 3 of them were game winners. You know, stuff like that. Or Matt's heroics as your leading scorer and all of that. It will just become more fun. And I like to be there that 10 years from now when you get together that first time, when you get everybody back here and have a good time. Your parents share in the moment now, and they were there and they bled for you, and they were there last year, lost the battleground, and you come back and you got to play battleground again. You didn't have an opportunity to get those guys from up the road one more time, and you nipped them in the bud. You nipped them in the bud because it was your year. But hey, they're on the outside looking in as time goes on. It's the special moment that you have, and I think that it's. I think you'll find that it's going to be a great opportunity. The second thing is, with all the players you have coming back, it's an unbelievable challenge. And with Garfield dropping down, though that matters not. You guys know, you've been through it. You've been the crucible of fire. I know at our level in the NBA, Detroit developed a little us against the world. We against the world. And they were a little half-nasty. Now, I'm not saying you need to necessarily be half-nasty. The rules, obviously, at high school level are much different than the professional level. But believe me, next year will be very difficult. And it's not too early at 11 o'clock when Mac finally sits down and says his last congratulations, or midnight. And remember now, I've got to drive back to Seattle. It's not too early at 11:01 to begin thinking about, okay, we're going to do it one more time. Oh, I'm going to go out and pitch a few no-hitters this year at 6'9", or whatever. Or I'm going to go practice a three-point shot to maybe do it 5 or 6 more times next year, or something like that. But it's not too early when this thing is over tonight to say, hey, we're going one more time, and that's next year. And my challenge is just going to sit back and kind of revel in the glory of what you guys did, and enjoy the moment, watch all the smiles and all that, and wish you the best of luck next year. Good luck, and thank you very much again.
Certainly good things come to those who wait. If you recall who the coach of the 79 World Champions was and who he is, he today became the highest paid coach in the NBA, making $600,000. Before we introduce the man of the evening, we have another man of the century here who's been around forever in the sporting world who would like to say a few words of congratulations on behalf of a grateful city. And ladies and gentlemen, again, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce not only a distinguished politician, although he won't admit to being a politician, just call him plain Ray Reid.
Ken, as you noticed in the bulletin, under the invocation, there was no name there. I don't know why Fred did that. I guess he was couldn't get anybody, or I wasn't available, or what, I don't know, but he called me about 4 o'clock. He'd already asked me to say a few words, and then he called me about 4 o'clock to go to the invocation. I said, sure. Well, anyway, this is a great evening. I'd just like to say to Jim Marsh, I hope the USC band can learn another song. It's like the one they play. Isn't that something? One song. Oh boy. Yeah. All those gladiators in their nice uniforms and their instruments and everything. But I was there at USC Washington, you know. That's okay, I hope. He said he beat Lou Alcindor in the UCLA Bruins. Who was the guard that played for USC at that time? He probably scored about 40 points that night.
Everybody know? Neil Goodrich.
Gus Williams.
Close, man. He went to SC. That's for sure.
I don't know about this.
Gus Williams. Put him in mind. I'm a generation.
Oh, I see. You still look young. Anyway, the fans of Mount Vernon to be congratulated. I think you set a couple records at the state tournament for the most people, the most enthusiastic, and probably the most in the bar at the Tacoma Dome. Two things happened after the game for me personally. The first thing that I looked up at the score clock, and when the clock said 0, I looked all around to see if there was a dugout. I wanted to make sure that there was. I was going to stay away from it. A little thing happened at the spring game. We won the baseball championship game. But I'm here. Great fans. It's a great occasion. They say that, you know, who knows who was in the Final Four 2 years ago in the NCAA? Only the people who were there or who were involved. And I think that's probably true about any form of athletics. It's important to the people that are involved. And it's darn important to the people of Mount Vernon that we won the state championship. Is that true? The other thing, I saw John Rendall, my old buddy that I usually go to the games with after the game, and he came up to me and says, "You won't believe what Only Knows said, right?" I said, "What did he say?" He said, "You know, we've been going to these games for years." He says, "Now I can go down and get my cemetery plat." You know, I think that's true. You know, you can now die knowing that we won the state championship. thing was, I was really intrigued that when there was about 1 minute and 5 seconds to go down in Marysville when Malvern was playing those people up north. There was a timeout or pause for a free throw. I think they were shooting a free throw anyway. David Garcia was standing out behind the circle, and the big guy with the ponytail was motioning to him. And David went like this, and I think he was trying to say something to him. He had this grin on his face, and it was obvious what the outcome was going to be at that point in time. David moved a little closer. But I was intrigued to find out what that guy said to David. So I never got the opportunity until after the final game with Battleground. It was over. And I stood down at the end of the court. I couldn't get out on the floor because there was too many security guards. I tried. Anyway, I motioned to David, and he came over, and I said, David, what did that guy say to you after that Seahome game? He said, you know, Garcia, he says, you guys just can't keep up with us, not even at the state. David says, well, we'll have to wait and see. Well, we saw. You know, he could have stuck his chest out and got in the guy's face or done some things, but I thought that was a pretty class answer, you know. And that's, I think, the thing that I noticed about these gentlemen and the coaches, parents, and everybody involved is the way they handle themselves on the floor. And I think that's the thing that we should all be real proud of, is these boys and the way they handle themselves during the game, after the game, always. They were gentlemen. Never had to worry about them saying something to the referees. I think Mac would have killed them if they did. But winning the sportsmanship trophy down there had to be a highlight besides the championship. And that's one thing that I think is really great, that we could go all through that whole tournament and still win the championship and the sportsmanship trophy, both in the same breath. I think that's great. So my hat's off to you. My hat's off to the coaches and the parents and all your fans. Give yourself a hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, sports fan. Incidentally, they were making a little light gesture of fun against the guy named Bubba. If you haven't seen this guy catch and throw runners out trying to steal second base, he got 5 on the notch so far. 3 against Seahome. 3 against Seahome. I mean, they took off. It might have even gotten a jump or 2 on the pitcher, but this guy just threw it right to the bag. I'd be, he'd be the type of guy you wouldn't want to pick a fight with. And then when you ran away from him, he'd beat you from behind. Well, let's get on to the man of the hour right here. Just briefly, how do you compare what Matt Fraser has done? And I guess there are some people that you can really relate to. In my travels, when I'm not doing sports here, I get a chance to travel to the East Coast and a few other things and do some soccer and a few other kind things in other towns, but it's always great to be back here. But one night, we were in Chicago. We couldn't go to Cleveland with the soccer team, the Tacoma Stars, so we had to stay over in the Hilton. And you know, the saying goes, when you travel on the road, you spend more time in hotel rooms than Gideon Bibles do. But I reached in the book, and I was going to read the book, and all of a sudden another book fell out by Conrad Hilton, My Secret to Success. And I get thumbed through it, and all of a sudden you get down to the part where he kind of struck home. He says, you got to look at things in the perspective that is positive. You have to dream, and don't let anybody else tell you that you can't dream. He says, take, for example, a chunk of steel that you throw on the ground and it's recyclable. It's probably worth about $12. That same pound of steel is worth $250,000 when you make it into razor blades. An artist takes a cheap $1.25 canvas and creates a masterpiece. And then, of course, you become professional at what you do. George Washington years ago, before he became the father of our country, was a surveyor. And he did a job one time for a plantation owner back in Virginia. Gave him the bill. All of a sudden, the guy goes, Georgie, I know you're going to be like the father of our country, but give me a break. I can't afford $300. You know, the revolution hasn't gotten here yet. George says, you're right. Give me that back. I'll readdress that bill. So he takes the bill and he says, survey, $5. Underneath it, he puts, knowing where to put the states, $295. The man I'm about to introduce is probably a little conglomerate of all that. He has taken a piece of steel, in this case a piece of maturity, and he's molded it into a winning combination. He's gotten the support he's needed from the community. He's rallied the community. And all this making a lot less than Don James does as a state employee. Ladies and gentlemen, all kidding aside, I want you all to get up from your seats, stand, put your hands together for the man, Mac Fraser, right now. I'd like to say a special thanks to the sponsors that are on the back of here, all of us coaches and players, and everybody else that are part of this. We're very thankful to all of these people who are on this. I'd also like to say thank you to Fred Lee and Dick Duffy, because they're two people that really got this thing going. And Barb Hendrickson and Harlan Forrest and Robin Johnson also had a very large part of it. Without those people spearheading things, we might not have been able to be here tonight, and I know I'm very happy to be here. I was just thinking that these people talk, it's kind of fun to play out some of the things they said. I'm sure you might have heard people say, you know, the game's not over, champ's not won, until the fat lady sings and things. And I was thinking maybe the state championships aren't won here in Mount Vernon until the Mayor Reed falls or something. You know, it's really odd to me, when he spoke in front of the school, he came up and somebody had talked about him falling off the bleachers. You know, he went running down the dugout and fell off the end, and people didn't know if he had a heart attack or what had happened to him. And then he comes walking out in front of our student body and he's saying, yeah, I still got the scar, I still got the thing. You want to see it? You want to see it? And this is the mayor walking out there, so it was interesting to see him doing that. Behind all good organizations and behind all championships and behind all good things, there's all sorts of people that have to go into it. And while I'm here to talk about our team, especially tonight, I'm also here to talk about the people that were behind the scenes that help us go along, help us do as well as we did. And lots of times, they're the unsung heroes that really make sure that things are organized. I've separated out into three groups. What I'd like them to do is I'd like to have each one stand, and then after I get that particular group, then we will have them up to accept their award. The first group I'm going to talk about is our managers. And our managers were very, very important to us this year. They were a very big part of our team. All of us, or all of you that are in business know the behind-the-scenes people that help get things done all the time. And we were very lucky to have two new managers this year. They're sophomores, so hopefully they'll be around for a while. And they were Tony and Terry Stevens. Terry, would you say that's what first, please? Okay, Terry. You're here.
And he really probably should be getting coach's pay because he does so many things. He does more than Tony and Terry, mainly because he's been around an extra year and he knows exactly what to do. Whenever we pack to go to away games or if we have to make all sorts of decisions and things like that, Randy's right there helping us, making sure that we're making the right ones and making sure that everything's back. He's just been invaluable for the past 2 years. We're able to ask him to do all sorts of things. Mr. Boyce, please don't listen, but Randy has his own key to the coach's office. He has his own key to the equipment, and whenever we need something put away, we give it to Randy, and he takes care of it. He's just done a great, great job for the past 2 years, and we're lucky to have him. Another person that's kind of a manager, kind of more than that, is the person with the camera over there. That's Dan Kirkman. He's been a person that's been real helpful to us in the last couple of years. He was a manager, and then when he graduated, he's been a filmer the past 2 years. He does a very good job of it. He's a real important part of the program, gets along with all the players real well. And when he was manager, he quit 46 times. That was kind of a record. Every day he would quit, but we kept him around and kept him going. He's doing a real good job. So, all three of you, except for Dan, if you come up here, one more round of applause. Okay, moving on, I'd like to talk about our statisticians. They have for too many shots, or somebody shot at the end of the half where really it was just thrown away. They shouldn't count that one. And to make sure that they let the players make sure that the statisticians know that. And we had two of our statisticians that were with us all year and did a very good job. And one of them was Laura Pedroza. Laura, would you stand up, please? She did a very good job. This is her first year, and she did an excellent job. And another one who has been with us 3 years? Two? Who's been with us 2 years, and this year was the head statistician, and was just cantankerous enough to make sure that things were always done right, and that was Nikki Wheeler. Okay, these are our managers and statisticians, and I'm going to let them go back and sit down now because if I kept them up here, we'd have a whole certain group up here. So, our managers are... Okay, another group that doesn't get an awful lot of attention, but have been really important are the assistant coaches. And I think we've had a good group, and they were certainly a lot of fun to work with, and they're real supportive. I think we were a pretty supportive group. It gets kind of Saturday mornings and early morning practice, we kind of tend to get on each other's nerves pretty much, but we didn't do too much of that. One assistant coach is Doug Maynard. Doug, you see him? Done an awful lot of our scouting. He's worked with all the players that you see here tonight. The one thing that I really enjoyed was the last 2 years, I thought one of the things that helped us at the state tournament was go down there and be pretty well organized, have all the coaches doing all sorts of things, working on transporting the kids, staying up real late, taking care of money and things like that. Doug took care of all the money, made sure that no other coaches had to fool around with that, made sure that the kids got the money that they were supposed to have. And things like that. He really did an excellent job. We're real glad that he's here. Another assistant coach, and these are two new coaches that coached this year. They're pretty good friends. They've known each other for quite a long time. One of them teaches in our district. The other one is working on his education degree. And I'll start with
Kurt Johnson here on this side. Kurt Johnson, would you stand up? Graduated from across the river, and we never once held that against him. He still got hired, and that was amazing to me. But he did an excellent job. He worked with our freshmen. He did an awful lot of our scouting. If you looked at the mileage on his speedometer, it would be in Rio for the places he went. He went to Bremerton, went to Bainbridge. That's close to the same place, I guess. He went to Bellingham many times, Monroe, all sorts of places, getting scouting reports that we can use. And I think now, as coaches, we've talked a lot about scouting reports. We're starting to wonder maybe, you really do need to scout some, but maybe we overkill just a little bit sometimes because maybe we paid attention to that too much, but we think it's helped. And Kurt did a very good job. He worked with the freshmen this year, like I said, and he worked with all these people that you see in front of us too, and he did an excellent job this year. Another new assistant coach this year was Robert Hancock. Some of you probably remember seeing him play for Skagit Valley, and Kurt also when they won their state championship. And Robert coaches a lot like he plays. I'm real happy that Scott sits next to me. Scott doesn't like it that I stand up. He thinks there's a wall in front of him and things like that. But I'm telling you, Robert speaks. I mean, he's teaching in the perfect age group at the middle school because he speaks in the kind of stuff they do. He grabs this little notepad. It's got like 50 lines on it, 40 surfaces. We got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this. And it's just real nice to have Scott there to just kind of, figure out what he's saying. My honest to goodness, I don't have a clue about half the stuff he's talking about. We have late night meetings at the state tournament. We come home, get all the kids to bed, and get the lights off, and we sit in the halls to make sure that everything's quiet and that sort of stuff. And then we start meeting, and pretty soon Robert is just like, he's got his eyelids are drooping, I'm tired, stuff like that. But we're trying to get something done. And I didn't really mind it that he would get tired and want to go to bed, but the last night, footy pajamas, I thought that was great. That was horrible. But he did an excellent job, and he led the JVs to an 18-2 season with some very good players that will be moving up to the varsity. He's an excellent young coach, and he did a very, very good job for us, and we're lucky to have him. Another assistant, and he's been the varsity assistant this year. He's been the junior varsity coach. He's coached the C team. We started together 5 years ago at the same time. That's when we met. He's really done an excellent job. He's worked with all these kids at various times. He's an excellent teacher. He's going to be a real good head coach someday for somebody that's smart enough to hire him. And he's really been an important part in just about every single situation that I can think of for the past 5 years. It's been real important to have Scott around to bounce things off and discuss things with him, to watch him grow as an assistant coach and become a better and better coach. And just real lucky to have him here on our staff, Scott Strong. And Doug Maynard's wife, that's Teresa Maynard, and Robert's soon-to-be wife is Rita Hawking, and this is Kathy Stromer, Scott's wife, and the guy from across the way can't get a date in a long while. This is my wife, Cindy, and the last couple of days I've been making her more and more nervous about what she had to do. When I talked today about the conga line that she had to lead of all the kids, she just practically didn't even want to come here tonight. But this is my wife, Cindy, and she's a big coach's wife. She even let me put in my wedding vows when we got married that she would stand beside me even in 1-point loss. As you notice on the program, there's individual team awards and Security Pacific Bank awards. The Security Pacific Bank award we gave at our last banquet that we had, not the last, we had a dessert banquet for
the seniors and their parents. And there we gave the Security Bank Award. But the other individual award we saved until this May. Mark Henderson won the December Security Pacific Bank Award. Bill Cornelius won in January. And David Garcia, Matt Wolf, and Troy Holmes won in February. And they'll all be able to come to a banquet in the spring that's never been associated with all our different athletes, female and male, Burlington's, Seabrook Willie, LaConner, and Mount Vernon, all come here and they're honored with a guest speaker, and they have a nice gift and a nice dinner and things like that. It's a real nice way for our athletes to be honored even more, and they'll all be attending that banquet. And so the individual team awards that I'm announcing now, the only people that know it are myself and the coaches, and they don't know all of them. And so I thought it'd be nice to award those here. You know, one thing, another group that I see right back there, and it's kind of hard to see the people that are a little bit far away. Sorry, some of you had to sit on the floor. Were our cheerleaders this year, and I'd like all the cheerleaders to stand up if they would, please. Maynard is the person who's in charge of those people, and I think our cheerleaders did a good job. They were certainly good representatives of our school and our town. Okay, on to our individual award. I'm going to go in a little bit different order on the program. One award that we put in this year was the Practice Player Award. And I probably made a mistake. I called it the I Like to Practice Player. I like the Practice Player Award. And I think, you know, our guys are pretty pretty suave and pretty cool now, and they're not sure that I like to practice is a very good term, but I think it was important that we start to pay attention to people that really practice hard, do a real good job in practice, try to improve, try to make the team improve. And we had the one thing that also you should know about all these awards is they're all chosen by members of the team. The coaches don't get involved at all. If there's ties, there's ties, but the players all vote on these themselves. And the Practice Player Award, there were a couple of people that got votes, and they were certainly deserving. We had people that took practice very seriously, tried to improve, tried to make sure the team improved, and we had a lot of different people that could have won this award. This person also won the Gentleman Athlete Award, so I want to announce them both at the same time. Gentleman Athlete is chosen by our faculty at the high school. It's really a very important award because they see a lot of the athletes in situations much different than on the basketball court. Some of them never even attend a game. They do see the players in school and classes and things like that. And this year our Practice Player Award and our Gentleman Athlete Award goes to someone I think is very, very deserving, and he's going to come up and get these two awards right now, and that's Todd Thompson. Another important award, I think, and I think this may have been the key to our season. I thought that going into last year's season, that when we started practice, that we could really see improvement in an awful lot of our players. Our sophomores, like Troy and Bill and Mark, have certainly improved. Our older people, like Kirk Duffy and Tim Caviezel, Chris Gamble, have gotten better. And we really felt that was an important part of our team. And one of the things we really wanted to do was make sure that this year's team, the individuals and the team improved as much. And I really think that throughout the spring tournaments that many of them were involved in, the camps that we went to, I think that they got an awful lot better. We showed a lot of improvement among our players. And the players voted on this, and it came up a tie, and there were many people that got both. And I can think of a lot of the players that improved from last year. People really got a lot better, and that's what we're going to have to do again if we're going to have a good team next year. We have to continue to improve. And the two people that shared that award, there wouldn't be any doubt in my mind that they were deserving. One was not a starter last year, became a starter this year and started many of the games. came in very, very important situations and shared the duties of point guard.
Right.
Was an excellent three-point shooter and helped us out in an awful lot of games. And our two most improved players are Matt Wolberg and Ryan Keys. Another award is the Best Defensive Player Award. And I think if you watched our team, you saw probably a more, certainly an improved effort on defense. I think that our kids were really devoted to playing good defense. Good defense can be pretty boring at times. The drills that we do over and over again are designed to try to make them reactive games without having to think about it. And our defensive drills are pretty tough, and they're also, like I said, kind of repetitious. I thought we had a couple people we had a lot of people, I think, that played good defense. This guy definitely played good defense. Nobody wanted to take the ball in the key and have to try to shoot over him. Bill Cornelius did an excellent job on defense this year, especially in the district game. I thought, everybody knows he can play excellent offense, but I thought his defense might have been one of the keys, especially to Bainbridge and Woodwood. Chad Wire, I think, really prides himself on playing defense, really works hard on it. And our defensive award winner isn't any of those three, and I think they're all good defensive players. But I tell you what, I'd probably rather take the ball in the paint against this guy and have Chad Garvey than to have our defensive award winner Garvey. He's a pest on defense. He's always, he gets down the defensive stance. If I was somebody to bring the ball up, I'd just say, man, just hurry up. I'm not going to bring this one up. Because he was on him all the time in the state championship game. You don't get to the state championship game and take a guy that is on the all-tournament team and pick the ball from him a couple of times, generally create havoc unless you can really play defense, unless you're very proud of him. And our defensive award winner certainly deserved it is David Garcia. Another award I think that's very important to every team is the most inspirational award winner. And that was one thing I think that we were lucky to have this year is a lot of people that were inspirational. It's not, you always talk about the coaches, what did he say at halftime, or what did he say before the game. That isn't always the case. Sometimes some of your best coaching is done by your players. They're the ones that know what needs to be done and know how it has to get done. And they take care of policing their own kind of, taking care that everything's done the way the coaches really wanted, or maybe even done a little bit harder or better. And we had many inspirational people that certainly would have inspired me if I were playing, to be around them, the way they played, the things they said, the things they did. That was probably one of the nice things about this team, although there were many. We didn't have too many times where we had to take time out from coaching and basketball and work with a lot of other things. This year's Inspiration Award winner certainly inspired me, I think, if I was playing, because of his hard-nosed way of playing, very tenacious. He's willing to say things. He's able to say things. He's able to say things to people and have them come across well instead of somebody that's just trying to be a nice guy to coach or things like that. He takes his job very serious, I think, as a player, and really wants to do a good job. He's very inspirational. He's one of our captains here, Chad Wire. Another award that we had this year was our Honorary Captain Award, and then we also added a new award this year also, Player of the Year. And I've always been opposed to any type of award that singles somebody out too much, but I think that a Player of the Year can be chosen for many things: how they play, how they act, what they do on the court, what they do off the court, their obvious important contribution to the basketball team on the court is going to be a major part of it. I think that we had some very deserving people for this award, and I think the voting came out exactly the way it should. This person had double figures in every single game that he scored all year long. He had double figures in rebounding every single game except three. He was one of the tri-MVPs of the state tournament. He was obviously on the all-tournament team. He made 3 different all-league teams. He certainly deserves, I think, the Player of the Year, and was chosen by the players also as their honorary captain, Vince Mark Henry. These are the individual awards, and I'll let them sit back down now. Thank you very much. While I talk, then have them sit back down. And that way someone won't have to stand up here for a long time. Okay? Because, yeah. Anybody else, if you want to take a break or stand up and walk out of the room or anything, that won't offend me at all. You know, they said he does that to me all the time. This year we had an alternate that was on our team, and an alternate, by that I mean he didn't make the 12 that went to the state tournament, but he did shoot up in the varsity game. He played enough of a letter. He wasn't chosen as one of the 12 to go and play, but he practiced throughout the whole time, sacrificed his time, and didn't get to play in the district championship game because of an injury to one of our other players. That's the kind of the alternate takes that big part of the team, and he's a freshman, and he's definitely going to be very important when he'd shoot the ball and hit another 3, put his hands out, just kind of, you know, he just wanted to just do the funky do or whatever. You know? He was just kind of shaking and grinning and just really having a good time. On the TV, they called him Ryan Kais, but it never bothered him too much. And then, you know, here he is, the state championship game, and he steps up to the foul line, 12 seconds to go. He's got the big free throws. They put the camera in his face. He's got blood on his jersey, you know, and all these people go, oh, Ryan. You don't know how many girls in my freshman class have told me, oh, my little sister just loves Ryan Kais. Oh, my little brother just loves Ryan Kais. He was 55% for the three-point line, and he really is a competitive kid. It really, really works hard. And I think it was really neat that so many of our players saved their best for last. They had tremendous state tournaments. After the state tournament, probably many of you know, we stayed overnight, so we didn't get to bed too early. We got up, and our van didn't work, and so we had to rent a car to get home, and we rented a Lincoln Town Car. And Mr. Polino, thank you very much. That was nice. I'm going to turn it in pretty quick, I hear. And so we headed home, and there was the car in the front, and 2 bands of players behind us, and we came upon some fans, and we were waving, and they were honking, and all this stuff. And all of a sudden, there was a big boom. In the car next to us, there was a nice lady, young lady, whose radiator cap blew off. And so I turned around to look back, and Scott Stromer, being the uncaring teacher that he is, said, yeah, go help her. So, not really, but they just barreled out of the van without even saying anything. And here were about 12 guys ready to help this girl. She's standing there, she goes, what do I do? And that's when Matt Wahlberg jumped in her car. So, we're on the freeway. There's 4 lanes of traffic. Everybody's backed up because of a wreck. And the Mount Vernon High School basketball team jumps out into the freeway in this girl's car. Well, it happened to be a real small car. Matt's got his knees up to his ears. And Todd Thompson, wonderful gentleman that he is, stands out in front of traffic and kind of goes, you know, slow down. And Eddie, that's Ryan. Eddie just leaps out there. Just like he did the last 3 games. He's a great big grin on his face. And he's waving people through. He's got his hands up. People are stopping. Brakes are going all over. He's laughing so hard he can't hardly do anything at all. So if he ever stops shooting the 3 or decides to quit playing baseball or anything like that, he's going to have a great career as a traffic cop. of the things about many of the players was that as you coached them, they showed that they were having fun. I mean, there was some real joy in there that they were showing and dealing with through playing basketball. It's nice to see, and I think Ryan exuded an awful lot of it. Donnie and Tori are freshmen, and Ryan is a sophomore. Now we're on to the juniors. One of our juniors, and I'm taking him in alphabetical order, Steve Burleson. And the story I have to tell about Steve, I want you to move. We don't have anything to hand out, but the trivia question. What number is Steve Burleson? 21. Okay, don't forget that. Because I wouldn't want to use his name in a joke, because I wouldn't want to embarrass him. But just remember that he's number 21. Steve was an excellent three-point shooter. Came in against Seaholm in our first game and made some very important threes. He's got one of the nicest shots, I think, that you're going to find in a high school player. When he gets going from the three-point line, he's just unconscious. He just really plays well. He plays good defense. We had him on John Kinlock sometimes at the start of the year, and except for when John Kinlock went inside, Steve did a real good job. He was overmatched a little bit height-wise. He's an excellent player on the fast break. Really knows what to do with the ball. I think against Cheney, he had some very, very nice plays. Really got on with the break and got things going. He's a real hustler, an excellent rebounder. And what number is he? 21. Make sure you remember that, because I'll forget you. Steve Burleson. Another junior is Bill Cornelia. Bill. Not only a very good basketball player, he shot 54% from the field, was our third leading scorer. He also is close to a 4-point student and a very good high jumper. One thing you need to know about our kids is Mayor Reed didn't share a story with you, but when they put in the new playgrounds out here, some of the juniors got together and they all carved their name in the cement. And then they wrote state champs 1992. The juniors especially, along with Ryan, who is Trent's younger brother. Got that? Trent's younger brother. Somebody has a younger brother. You've got to keep that in mind. The 21 story. They carved their name and they put 1992 state champs. So they've been friends together and hung out together and played on a lot of teams together for a long time. And I've got two stories, and they both involve fishing. And they both had to do with Ryan and Bill. And the first one, you've got to know Bill to know how shy and quiet he is. When our team went, all 12 of us went down to Seaside for a week last year. They used Bill as kind of the foil. Any girl they wanted to meet, they said, would you like to meet Beal? Would you like to meet Beal? So they would bring all these girls to meet Bill, and that way they could meet him also. Well, Ryan and Trent are going fishing, and they're going somewhere over in Anacortes. And I haven't heard the whole story, but I heard enough to know that it's a good one. And here they are. Those three are heading down the path to go fishing, and they really are. They're all like kind of Huck Finn, you know. They're going to go fishing, and they start coming down. All of a sudden, Bill puts on the brakes, just like a donkey or a horse. He's not going any farther. Ryan and Trent look down, and they're going farther. There are two ladies getting an all-over tan. Two young girls down by the lake. But not Bill. He stands behind the branches and the leaves, and he's peeking around. And Ryan keeps down there, the fish are going to be biting today. And Trent's going to talk to him, Ryan, talk to him. And finally they're sitting there, and they find, there's no real punchline. It's just that they're saying, well, what about your friends? Is he kind of basketball up there? Because they see Bill biting him. I'm not sure how the story ended, but you got to appreciate that one. Some of you might think that Bill's middle name is Shoot, because every time you get the ball, especially last half of the year, people are always yelling, shoot, shoot, shoot. And Bill is definitely a team player. He believed in teamwork, and he holds very strong strongly to that. And so if he didn't think he was shooting, he wasn't going to shoot very much if he wasn't shooting well. But the first time that I ever met Trent, Ryan, and Bill, 5 years ago or so, and I was up there looking around the area, and I had heard about them and talked to some of the people, and they were out of Big Lake fishing. And I went out there, and if you get to know Bill very well, he's not incommunicating. He doesn't communicate real well, but he'll talk to you every once in a while. It's like if you say, "Hi, Bill, how are you today? Did you have a nice weekend? What did you do?" If he says, "Mm-hmm," then that's kind of like the Gettysburg Address. But I didn't know that when I first met him, and so I was down. I came by Big Lake, and those three were out fishing. They're on the dock fishing, and I knew that they were kids that were eventually going to be players. And so I walked out on the dock, and I walked up, there's Ryan, just, happy to be there, Trent grinning away, and just having a great time. And Bill's over on the side, he's got like 11 fish. I mean, and Trent and Ryan just had nothing, but they're still having a good time. There's about 11 fish there. And I walked up, I says, hey, how are things biting today? I don't know much about fishing and stuff like that. I thought that would be a good way to start out. Bill just looks at me and goes, I said, shoot, new guy in town. I don't know much about what's going on. So I walked over to Ryan. I said, how you doing? Oh, about 15 minutes later, I had a pretty good idea how big we're going. Ryan and Trent were really enjoying themselves, having a real good time, and they were really nice kids. I said, what's with this guy here? This Cornelius, does he not talk very much? And Ryan says, oh, he's just like that, Good fisherman, though, but he's kind of like that. So I walked back over to Bill and I said, those two guys, think that you're a pretty good fisherman. What's the secret? I don't know anything about this. Bill just kind of goes, So I walked back over to Trent and Ryan. I said, it's really been nice visiting with you guys. I don't get much out of him at all. And they said, well, he's kind of like that. You might want to try one more time. And I walked back over, I just see Bill, he's fishing, just serious as heck, he's excited, things are going well for him, he's got the mound to fish. And he looks at me like, oh, geez, here he goes. So I walked over to him and I said, well, I got to get going, but I'm serious, I've never fished very much, but you look like you're hot, what's going on? And I really like to talk to you. And Bill goes, you got to keep the worms warm. Plays, how hard he works, how pesky he is, things like that. It was kind of funny with David. Every couple of games or so, he was my TA at school, and he'd come up and say, I don't know my leg, I don't know. It's hurt, got bad. I'd say, Dave, you're out for a week. He'd say, no, it'll be okay. Or he'd come in and just, I saw the doctor, I can't take my thumb. I don't know, it's kind of hurt a little bit. You'll be out for a week. He goes, come on, it hurts. So we get to the state, he's always kind of complaining about the little injuries. We get to the state tournament, and Steve Johnson, Brad Johnson, they had a doctor in town. I see him heading in there with a big old black satchel with David, and I knew everything was going to be okay, because David, I think, wanted his appendix out real quick, and he couldn't do it. He had heat for his legs and all those sort of things, but David was really a hard worker and did an excellent job for us. I know that one of the questions a lot of people had last year was, what are they going to do for point guard? What's going to happen there? And I think those questions were answered very well, especially in the championship game. I thought David was the best point guard in the game without a question. He really did very well. In the last two tournament games, he played as well as any of the tournaments, as any of the people in the whole tournament. He really did an excellent job. If you watch that tournament game that's on TV, one of these things you got to watch is, if you haven't picked this up already, is every time that there's a foul shot, we put our point guard right behind the foul shooter so he can get the rebound and the outlet and get the fast break going. If you look real carefully, we always have our hands up and our point guard's hands are up. But in David's hand, one hand is up and the other hand is pointing towards the battleground crowd, and it's like this. And he did it all game long. Just kind of, I think it was just David's little signature, like, the things are going to change this year. It's kind of a neat little deal. We don't like to show off too much, but I thought maybe that was okay. Something you got to know about David, too, is he's a real leader, gets along with the players and the coaches real well. He can tell the coaches when things aren't going too well. He can, keep everybody kind of on an even keel and things like that. To show this, one morning, one of his friends showed up and said that at his house, let's go to the Spanish club meeting today. They've got free donuts. Well, David's in the Spanish class, and so he shows up. And he has a half hour later, he's eating the donuts, and he's also president of the Spanish club. So now I hardly ever see him as a TA anymore. He has to go down and do all the Spanish club business and all those sort of things. But that's the type of individual he is. People just seem to like him a lot, get along with him well. And I think in the tournament, he just did an excellent job of running our team. David Garcia. Another junior is Mark Henderson. It's hard to say a lot more about Mark, because you've all probably read everything there is to read, and you probably know just about everything that you ever wanted to know about Mark. But I think Mark's one of those people that really deserves all those things. He gets along real well with his teammates. I think that's one of the reasons that he can get some of the publicity he gets, because the teammates appreciate him. He doesn't have a big head. He doesn't talk only about himself. He's very well liked and appreciated on this team. And the nice thing about it is they've been together for a long time, and if any one of them gets too big-headed or anything like that, they're all going to kind of take care of him and just kind of, yeah, remember when you did this, remember in 6th grade when you did this. And Mark was, 5'11", and in his freshman year, 6 foot his freshman year. So he was kind of one of the small ones for a long time. As I said, he was one of our captains this year. He did a very good job of it, took it very seriously. He had, I don't know how many double-doubles all year long with rebounds and points. He even had a triple-double with rebounds, points, and assists, I think it was. He played very, very well all year long. He averaged double figures every single game, 2 double figures rebounding every single game except for 3. A lot of those were because his minutes were cut down in the games and he didn't get double figures. It's hard to continue to say those things, but he was, one of the state's MVPs in the tournament. I know that a couple of sports writers this year have picked him as their #1 player in the state, even though he's a junior. He was one of our leaders because he did it on the court, and every night you could count on him. He was consistent. He was going to get the job done. I think in the state tournament he had about 5 points at halftime, 20-something at the end of the game in the championship game. So we're very lucky to have him on our team, as we're all our players, and he certainly has deserved and dealt with all of the honors that he's gotten very, very well. Mark Henderson. Another junior is Troy Holmes. If you ever want to take a cross-country trip and you want to have someone to sit with you and keep you laughing and laugh at all your jokes and really have a great time, all these kids would be great, but I might pick Troy Holmes. He's one of the funniest people I've ever been around. He's got an excellent memory, because I was sitting around one day eating lunch in my room, and Troy was there, and we were talking about the state tournament. And I just happened to, just a throwaway line, say something like, gosh, if we ever won the state tournament, I'd get the score tattooed on my rear. I just happened to say that, because I thought that was kind of interesting. And I don't know why, it sounded like something that was kind of neat. So when we get in the locker room afterwards, there's only one guy who remembers that, and that's Troy. And he all of a sudden looks up and goes, "You gotta get the score tattooed on your butt." There was only one guy that could remember it, and I haven't done it yet, but I talked to Cindy about it a little bit. She thought with a basketball would be kind of right. I think that's still down the line. But seriously, Troy is easily one of the people that gets along so well with all different types of people. He's willing to be in all sorts of different groups. I think one thing that's neat about a lot of these players as people is they just don't hang together or just don't hang out with other athletes. They're in all sorts of different things throughout our whole school. Troy is an important part of Synergy, which is an important music group in our school. David is president of the Spanish club, and all sorts of these guys are involved in all sorts of other things. It's just not athletics that they do, and Troy certainly is like it. Against Burlington this year, when Troy had, I think it was 35 points, it was one of the best games that I've ever seen anybody play. Against Lakeside, he wasn't a starter in our opening state tournament game, and he came off the bench and was our leading scorer with 20. He's a very good rebounder, one of the most difficult people to guard underneath the basket. And I think he's one of our most sensitive players. Last year when we had tournaments and things in Everett, they stopped by my house between the tournaments, and everybody would be watching TV or something like that, and he'd sit down with my little daughter and talk to her and read her stories and all that sort of stuff. He was just really, really a nice kid to be around. I think besides being a real good basketball player, besides being a very important part of our team, he's one of the people that you like people to know about because he's really a quality individual. Troy Holmes. I thought about something that Jim Marsh said. He said that 10 years, you're going to feel even stronger. You're going to feel even better. And when I think about these kids and the opportunity to be involved with them, I can't imagine it. I can't imagine it getting any better. I mean, these are a special group of people that oftentimes in life we sometimes wonder, why me? Something bad happened. Why me? Why did it happen to me? I think I had that feeling for one of the first times this year, totally opposite. It's so positive to be working with kids like this every day. It's kind of like I come home and say, why me? Why did this happen to me? They're an excellent group of people, and I think it's neat for people like all of you to want to say thank you to them for what they've done, because they really are a special group of kids. And if it can get even better than it is right now in 10 years, I can't wait to see it there, because there's already some very, I think, strong friendships and feelings. Another junior is Brad Johnson. And the next couple of juniors I'm going to talk about, the stories that I'm going to tell you all have to do with our trip to Seaside. And Seaside was a great time for us. We all lived together, 12 of us in a house. Then I lived outside in my motorhome. Brad is kind of the king of the nicknames. He's known, as 5 is the number he wore at Seaside. So as you can imagine, Ryan and Trent started to give him nicknames. It was 5. And it's Boom, because that's for 5 in German, and Uwe, and he has all sorts of nicknames. He was really a person that did a very good job on the JV team this year. He's one of our nicest kids, one of our hardest workers, always willing to get in there and work as hard as he can and play as hard as he can every single time that he's in there. And I told the Seaside story once before, but I want to say it again. Brad is kind of, sometimes he's shy. And look at him, he just loves standing up in front of you all right now. Sometimes he's bashful. Where on the Seaside trip, we played 3 games a day, practice a little bit, and then they'd have a lot of time to go out and have fun. And fun to a lot of them, like, I probably should say some of them probably have serious girlfriends now, but fun to a lot of them was to meet other people that lived in Seaside, especially high school females. That was really important. They'd come home, yeah, I got too old. I really did. They're going to see us at the beach, and all this sort of stuff. And Brad, after about the 4th or 5th day, thought, hey, that looks kind of fun. I'm going to meet a couple of these things myself. So Brad is so nice and such a great kid that his big mistake was he brought him home. Not into the house, but outside by the porch light, by the telephone pole there. So he's standing out there, and Ryan and Trent again. Gee, I'm sure it wasn't Ryan and Trent that, was it 4 a.m. that morning earlier? We play hard and all that stuff. At 4 a.m., a radio goes off in Brad's room. He's sleeping in the basement. It's pitch black. He can't find it. He knows he didn't set a radio, but he can't find it. It's blaring in his chest of drawers. And finally, he's digging stuff out, throwing them around. Did you ever finally figure it out? You just let it, what did you do? Pulled it out. No, he pulled it out. He just pulled the radio out. It was a gift from Trent and Ryan to wake him up at 4 a.m. So all of the kids are in the house because they all kind of made curfew and they're all gathering. And here's Brad out front on the corner with this friend that he's met. And, you know, he'd sure love to get a nice little kiss on the cheek before he leaves and be a hero in front of the guy. So what do? Our house is huge. They all go upstairs and walk out on the roof. They start singing the Star Spangled Banner. And it was, without a doubt, I think a little bit embarrassing, but Brad wasn't too worried about it, because when he came back in, he goes, she would have kissed me. She really would have. And but we never really got to see it, but it would have been great. We probably would have had video at 11. But Brad is a very important part of our team, and he really did an excellent job this year, Brad Johnson. Another junior was Trent Key. Trent is a junior that's been with all of these kids for a long time. As many people have said, one of the best baseball players that we have in our school. He's a very good athlete, had some great basketball games for us this year. Up at Seaholm, when we got behind by 17 in the second half, he came in and really led a charge and played very, very well and helped bring us back almost to a victory there. Again, Santa Cordes, when we weren't playing very well, we put him in and he helped our press. He did a great job. He's a very good three-point shooter. He plays underneath very well and really did a great job for us all year. Now, Seaside, okay? Remember Seaside? This is a story that has never been told, but I'm not going to embarrass anybody and say that it's about Trent. But this story is about the older brother of a player on our team. It's about the older brother at number 21 on our team. The last night of Seaside, we're all sitting around 2 days earlier. I had hurt my back, so Brad Johnson and I had spent time in the emergency room, and Bob Keys and Fred Lee had to coach the team in the last game. The only one that lost. They did an excellent job. It was good that they were there. So all the guys are upstairs. I gave them curfew each night. They always made it. The last night they were a little bit shaky on it, but we were all in there about 11:30. The next day we're going home. We're driving in the motor home and in the Keys car all the way back and that sort of stuff. And there's no games left to play. And we're all sitting around watching Arsenio Hall or something like that. Everybody's in there. They've got all sorts of food. Everybody's having a great time. And everybody's in for the night. I finally got them all in. And all of a sudden, number 21 goes, oh, I'm tired. I think I'm going to bed. You know, now this is a 16, 17-year-old kid that his parents are within 400 miles. It's about 11:30 at night, and he's tired, he's going to bed. Oh, that seemed real natural to me, so I just looked at him, and he goes, how about you guys? Anybody else tired, you know? Trent yawns a little bit. Everybody else kind of looks at him like, yeah, we're real tired. And so guys start finally going to bed about 12. And it kept sticking in my mind, even though I'm crippled and can hardly move and land on the floor, it still struck me as a little bit odd that number 21 would be so tired. And so everybody's in their beds, they're all over the house, and I decided to go check. And everybody's there, Ryan, Bill, David, Troy. Everybody's there except the older brother of number 21. Well, I walked in and I go into this one guy's bed that was in the same room with number 21, and I go, where's number 21? And you know how honest the kids are, they don't want to get anybody in trouble to color anything. I find out the covers go, he's not here. I had a pretty good idea that somebody was doing something a little bit wrong. So I kept searching around and I never found the big brother either. I didn't find either one of them. Well, and I knew something was going on because their best jackets and their nicest baseball hats were gone too. So they were out on the prowl. So I went limping down Seaside to Carolina Walk, and all these kids go, you want me to help you? You want me to help you? I said, no, I'll get it, you know. So as I leave the door, I expect them all to be all quiet and things like that. But there, all of a sudden, they just start losing it. You know, they're real sad that number 21 and the older brother are going to get in a little bit of trouble. They're real sad about that. So they're laughing. I can hear them kind of a little bit, but it hurts too much to go back. So I just keep limping down the boardwalk trying to find these guys. And I get up by the one motel, and they had made, not reservations, I guess you would say, but they had made an appointment to meet two of probably Brad Johnson's friends. This is a big night for them also. They were going to meet a couple of seaside people and walk up and down the boardwalk. And they were looking pretty sharp, I got to admit. And I saw them come walking up the boardwalk. My back was killing me. I didn't even want to be there. And I just happened to step out, and I saw them, and they saw me. And it was kind of like, oh, God, I'm not going, you go. No. And so I thought, I wasn't that mad, but I walked up to them. I think I said something like, you better hope your parents don't find out about this. Come on, walk. And I just turned around, and they're all, okay. And I can just imagine what it must have looked like. There's some security guards right there. Here's this guy limping down the street. These two kids following right behind him. They're, are you going to tell our parents? and I never would. I would not do that. Stage turned around. They love it. Chad is the rap master of Skagit County. He knows all the rap songs. He knows all the latest lingo. Teaches it to Bill, so Bill can be cool too. He and Troy and Mark are the ones that kind of come up with all the new things and then handshakes and all that sort of stuff. We've never had to worry about that too much, but I think when Chad's a senior, you're going to see all sorts of stuff. Hopefully we'll get a few games in while he's handshaking and high-fiving and all that sort of thing. But he really is a hard worker, takes it very seriously, wants to do a good job. Has played with these kids, as they all have, for a long time, and been a very important part of it. Chad's kind of the kid that gets all sorts of things going all the time. And yeah, somebody's in trouble. I'm not too sure it wasn't Chad that kind of lined up Brad and lined up 21 and the older brother to go out and that sort of stuff. And then, no, Coach, I didn't see him. I really don't know where they went. I knew it was important to be here tonight, you know. But Chad's kind of a slick one, if you know Chad very well at all. I think one of the interesting things, if any of you went down to the Goodwill games last year, there were some awfully good games, and it was a pretty neat spectacle. And I went to the basketball games, and then I went over towards the track games, and I noticed, you know, they didn't see me, but there was Chad, and there was Bill, and there was Steve Bertelson. And they were outside the Husky Stadium trying to get in. They really wanted to go real badly. And I was just kind of there watching the check. I was like, I know we can get in. We don't need tickets. And Bill goes, it's been sold out for 2 weeks. And you got to love Bill. I mean, last week at the regional finals, there were 2 seats in front of us that were empty the whole time. And finally, his dad said, we can go and sit there. And Bill goes, no, we can't. The usher, okay, it's like a dad, we can't. Finally, Dave crawled over and Bill, I don't think this is a good idea. They made it through. All you have to do is say usher and Bill go, oh. So you got to imagine how tough it was now for Bill at the Goodwill game. So Chad and Bill are there, and Steve's with them, and Steve just kind of, oh, okay, I'll go along. But Chad says, we're going to get in here. We're going to get in here. I know we're going to get in here. And I thought, yeah, how are they going to get in with any tickets? And all of a sudden, Chad walks up to his car and pulls the hubcap off. And he goes, look, we're going right through the players' entrance. You follow me. And so he comes walking right up to the players' entrance. He takes his hubcap, he puts it right up here, and he goes, wires, Holland, distance. Right in. And they're looking around, and Bill goes, I'm not going to try that. Burleson goes, well, it looks like it might work for me, you know. And Burleson walks over, and there's a little, like, sapling there, and he walks up, and he grabs it, pulls it out, and he comes walking up, and he goes, Burleson, Germany, javelin, and he walks right out. Does a great job, comes right on in there, Bill's out there, and he's nervous, he doesn't know what to do, and Chad and Steve are waving at him, you know, come on in, Bill, I don't know, brain lock or whatever, he grabs barbed wire fence, he walks up and he comes in, and he goes, Cornelius, Norway, fencing. But back to Chad, he really is that sort of person. He's an organizer. He gets things done. He gets things done the right way. He plays very, very well. He plays very hard. Is one of the real important members of the team. We're glad we have him, Chad Wire. And one of the two seniors that we were lucky enough to have this year, Todd Thompson. There are no jokes here. I think this is a real important message. Todd was an important part of our team, won 2 awards from our team, was a very important part of it. And he had never played at Mount Vernon before. As a freshman, as a sophomore, and a junior, he hadn't played. He'd always wanted to, but he just didn't. And this year, I pulled him in, and with the coaches, we were talking to him, and we said, you know, why'd you do this? Why did you try? And he goes, I just wanted to. You know, he really wanted to take a risk. And he told us about the first day of practice. He was the last guy to get all of the forms and things like that in. He was the last one. Everybody else, all the freshmen, all the sophomores, all the juniors, and all the seniors, had everything handed in except for Todd. He was the last one. It was on Friday. He got it in finally. He said that he woke up that morning, Monday morning, which was Veterans Day, I believe, and we were having practice, and he was talking to himself, said, don't go, don't go. Never played this game, don't go. And the other parts of saying, oh, you're going to try. No, I'm not going to do it. So he said he ate breakfast, and he kept doing the same thing. And I think this is an interesting idea, because he had never, ever risked it before. Never, ever tried, and always wished that he had. And he continued, you know, he said he drove to practice and parked out in the parking lot. And sat out there going, here, do it, no, don't do it. Just go home. I mean, what's going to happen to you? Nothing. If you try, you're going to get cut. Why try it? And instead, he came in and practiced. And he did a good job. He really did. He should have played. There's another message there, too. He should have played as a freshman, sophomore, junior. He should have risked it even earlier because he could have been an even better player. But I think it's an important message there that he was willing to risk it one time. He really tried to take a chance, and he did an excellent job this year. We're very lucky to have him. He practiced very hard. When he got into games, you could see if he had a little bit more experience, he could have helped even more. But he really did it. He really had an excellent year. Never once caused any problems. Was always a positive kid. And you know, to think back to that parking lot on November 12th, where you're not willing to risk it, but maybe you think you will, and then end up with the state championship ring. That's kind of a neat 4.5 months. It shows that you know, even though maybe you think you can't do some things, you probably can. But we're real happy with Todd. We really think he did a good job. Todd Thompson. Matt came to us as a transfer at the start of his junior year. I remember when the counselors came and said that there was a 6'9" kid outside the door, and you hear that from our counselors all the time. Mr. Susan, Mr. Paul, and Mr. Ritter always kind of joking. I said, yeah, sure. And Ms. Brooks was the one that came in and said that, and then she left. And then she said, you know, that Matt and his father would like to speak to you, and I just said, sure. And about 20 minutes later, I just was walking out the door for some reason, and there they were standing there. I looked up and I said, holy crime, she was telling me the truth. And Matt started in last year, and quite frankly, he thought early morning practice was worth a bump. He thought running as much as we run didn't make a lot of sense. He thought that some of the things we did maybe, you know, weren't quite the way they should be done. But he kept working hard, and I think his best games were at the state tournament. He worked throughout the summer. He went to camp. He got better and better. At the start of the year, he was still playing very good defense and still rebounding very well. And I don't know what happened exactly to Matt, but by about the last month of the season, he was easily, you know, he won the Most Improved Award, and he was easily one of our best offensive players and one of our most, you know, quickly improving offensive players. He got better and better and better and better. And in the state tournament, I forget which game it was. I think it was Lakeside. Really did a good job. I think Matt's come an awful long way. I think that he'll be playing here at Skagit Valley College next year. He's come an awful long way as a player. Without a doubt, very important in our defense and with rebounding and things like that. And his offensive skills are really improving too. I think one of the nicest things that I saw this year is when at the end of the tournament, we were kind of talking in the locker room, and somebody put the net on Matt's head, and he was sitting there, and you know, David Garcia said something like, "I'm just glad we were able to send Matt out with the championship." And you know, there were a lot of tears in Matt's eyes, and his face was really red and that sort of stuff. And I think everybody had different feelings about it, but it was neat to look down and see that, and you could tell just how much everything had meant to him. And it had meant a lot. He worked hard for it, and he had certainly deserved it. And we're just real fortunate that he came to us a year ago, and that he's been here 2 years, because he's been a real important part of our school and our team. Matt Walter. And I am finishing up here. Thank you all for being so patient. But to get back to 10 years from now, or 20 years from now, or whatever, this is as special a group of people, young people, that I've ever been involved with. They are really wonderful kids. They're polite when they go places. I don't know how many times I heard things from other parents and other schools saying things about how nice your kids were or are, how much we appreciate the way they acted and act and things like that. And I think if you look around the room, and there's really too many to mention each individual, but if you look around the room at parents and at teachers and at friends, relatives, family members, youth league coaches in all sports they've had, there's an awful lot of people in Mount Vernon that have had a large effect on these young people. They wouldn't be who they are, and they wouldn't have accomplished what they did without you people and without the effects you've had. I mean, if you look at the back of the program, it says, because of the generosity of these sponsors, each player and coach.
Another somebody.
And after the last one, I just kind of shook my head. Oh, you know, he's going to play a lot or something. Without a doubt, all of you that have watched Johnny play, you know that he's going to have an excellent future. Probably one of the most polished JV basketball players that we've had. What this night is about is a thank you to these kids, saying, you know, we appreciate what you've done. We appreciate the way you act. We appreciate the way you don't embarrass yourselves and others at games and things like that. And it's a really special group of kids, and I think they very much deserve it. They've come through the Mount Vernon school system for the most part. Some haven't, but most of them have. They've been involved in Mount Vernon Parks and Recreation programs. They've been involved with many of you as their coaches at AAU and here at Saskatchewan Valley College. They've been provided opportunities to be better players, better people, and they took advantage of it. They really did take advantage of it. Without all this, I don't think, without everybody's help, without everybody's input, you wouldn't have a championship group of young people. This would never have happened. And I think already our young players have, our young people have learned from that. They've already, in the past 2 weeks, gone out and tried to say thank you in their own words by going and visiting the grade schools. And they visited 2 grade schools already, and the response that I've got from the teachers has been very, very positive. And they're going there, putting on clinics and talking to the young kids about all sorts of things, and they're very well received. And they're the type of kids that should be well received, because young people today can do well to be like many of these kids. And once again, it's because of parents and everybody else has had an effect on this life, on each life. You don't win a championship in any sport just by doing it that year. You're doing it by laying the foundation and laying it very, very well and doing a good job when they're very young. And you can be around these kids and see how they shake hands when they're supposed to, and see how they act decent the way they're supposed to. It's really a special treat. We've been very fortunate as coaches to have a chance to work with young people like that. You go through many years of coaching, and you don't always get this sort of kid in such a large group of them. And also they're involved in, like, some of them were involved this year in coaching youth teams trying to give something back. I think if professional athletes and college athletes would become a little bit more givers than takers, we'd all be much better off. And I think one of the nice things that you have shown these kids is it's important to give. It's important to give of your time, of your money, and of your care and your friendship and your love. And I think these people, our young kids, well, especially, have learned that, and they're going to be able to give much of that back when they become. I think Tom Burns can be very, very proud of you. I'd like to thank all of you once again. I'd like to have the kids stand up once again so they can hear this applause on that. Yes. Make sure that you guys, before you leave, make sure that you have Barbara, what are they supposed to do? They're supposed to just like well, they're gonna be around to say thank you to all of you, so they won't be running off, and they're gonna be around to say thank you, like I said. And thank you very much for coming tonight. Will you 13 guys come up here? Come up in the order I talked about. A lot of great hardware and more to come as the hits just keep on coming here. We have Chad and Mark, as soon as they get their flags, they're going to make some special presentations on behalf of the team to Here's the bashful guy, Chad Wires.
Mark and I have a few things we'd like to give to Coach Frazier. First of all, we have a gift certificate to Coach Frazier and his wife. All the 13 players who went to state got together and put some money in to help get this gift certificate. And also, we also have a players like to present Coach Frazier with a picture that was in the Skagit Valley Herald of all the players holding up Coach Frazier after the state tournament game. We have a couple other things. This is a glass container that holds a championship ball and donated by Stanton Coin of Mount Vernon. We also got a thank you card from the junior parents to the Coach Frazier, and I'll read a brief little paragraph here of the picture. And it says, once upon a time there was a group of young boys who loved basketball. As time passed, they grew and grew, still remaining little boys at heart. And there was a picture of us over at Chad's house, taking all kinds of fun pictures, watching TV. And as they entered high school, their parents watched with great anticipation as Max Frazier attempted to blend this group of varied personalities, talents, physiques into a cohesive team. And there's a picture of a team picture of the team. Winning the state tournament was only one facet of what we hoped for our little boys. Additionally, we saw other qualities such as social interaction, decision-making, sportsmanship, loyalty, patience, and academics. So our thanks, Matt, for being a part of our boys' lives this year as our little boys became young men and there's a picture of us at the junior prom.
Any more awards?
You get the feeling that this whole year was sort of like Operation Desert Storm with the same amount of success. Really? What do you think? I've got one little presentation here on behalf of Caps Radio. We do, of course, have tapes of the game available. Most of you have taped it out the VCRs. And I don't know where you're going to put this in a trophy case, but all the conglomerate of newspapers, stories from the Seattle Times and the local areas with pictures involved. And this will certainly either look good in the cafeteria, maybe John Boyce's office. And it's okay, John, to take that number 2 banner down and hide it somewhere, because we can replace it with one that shows that you were true champions right here. Well, we've come to an end of a banquet that we're still going to do some other things, but every so often, every time I do these things, I think it started during the football season when Al Williams was still coaching yet. They always want me to do a poem to kind of end these things. And I'm not what you might call a poet, but my feet show it. Longfellow. But when I first got here in 1970, people always put Mount Vernon down. They said, hey, they're mediocre. They don't really give it a whole effort. I mean, letters to the editor of the newspaper, yeah, sure. So, bear that in mind when I read this to you, because this is for all those people who thought that Mount Vernon was just mediocre. It's called Ode to a Winner. Give us a winner, the city cried, and for many a year, teams indeed tried. The critics would gloat at the lack of success, and their prediction of doom would further profess. Well, Farrell's girls took up the challenge in 78. In basketball, Mount Vernon High was the best in the state. Well, the critics said, that's so nice, but when it comes to the guys, the door is still shut. Comes the 80s and things get better. More team success and pride of the Leatherman sweater. With attitudes changing from a snarl to a grin, enter Mac Fraser, and he really feels the gym. The program is building, and the 80s are through, and in 1990 we finished number 2. The boys in sneakers and shorts don't fret or cuss, but they put the rest on notice. You haven't heard the last of us. In spring sport, that promise no more than right. Were you at Tacoma with the best baseball team wore green and white? And Bill McCutcheon to lead them to their best ever night? It's time for the round ball again. The year is 91. Mac tells his team, hey guys, let's have some fun. And Mark, David, Bill, Troy and Matt say, let's run. Chad hits a long tray shot. Trent and Ryan come in and get hot. Oh yes, there's Steve and Todd. They too get their chance to participate in the victory dance. The sweet smell of victory is the most sought aroma as the Bulldogs return to the Dome of Tacoma. The final night they pass the test of buzzer sounds. They are the best, and dog pride is citywide. Big cities have gangs, smog, and heavy police laws, but thank God, parents, coaches, and fans, for student athletes and winners, all Bulldogs. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Repeat is the word to remember. Barb has some announcements to make, and again, thank you to Jimmy Martin for being here again. Let's give another round of applause.
We have a few housekeeping chores to do before we let you go. Last year, a lot of you wanted to see some of these pictures and didn't get an opportunity, so we're going to make sure they get there and you know where they are. There are also some balloons that are on the table inside the floral arrangement. And as we call out these guys' names, if your table happens to have their name written on that balloon, hold it up so they can see where it is. They're going to kind of get the balloon. They're going to put their plaque on the ledge back there. We're also going to take these two things that were given to Matt, put them back there so that you have a chance. And when they're all done, we're going to get them standing up here where I am with the state trophy for those of you who have cameras and want to get a picture of this group. So, Matt, who has Matt's balloon? Look at the balloons. Where are they? Okay, Matt. Who has Todd? Brent. Boys, would you take your plaques back there and sort of put them there? I don't think anyone's going to take them. Brad? Troy? David? Bill? Chad? Mark? Steve? Ryan? Donnie? Corey? One thing, the boys did find the gift certificates. They were getting a little bit panicked. And a big thank you to Max Dale who helped them give this special dinner to Max and Cindy. As soon as the boys get everything back there and can get in front here, again, a big thanks to all of you who are coming and supporting. We appreciate it.
Once again, if you want to take some pictures, by all means do.
What's up, Bob?
Smile, guys. Smile, Bob.
buy some Spurs tickets for him. Huh?
If I didn't have to work that night, I'd do it.
You have to work that night?
Yeah. I'd buy them for sure. That's what you buy. Good job, big kid.
Thanks.
I love that cheating game. That was my favorite. That kid trying to stop you on the baseline, that was a good one. Best of luck, kid.
Thanks.
Smart to raise your hand into his league. You got any buttons left on your shirt, Dad? That was a great. Yeah.
You do interview. Okay.
Goodbye.
Great. You want me to quit? No, I'm filming until they're gone. You did a good job, man. Thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for it all, Coach. Behind the scenes, it's been great. It's given me an opportunity of a lifetime I'll never forget. See you guys later. I think that you should tell me too. Yeah. Where's someone else? Where's the car?
Thank you.